to take that chance. Much too seedy, they too greedy, eyes too beady. Honeymoon end before the romance. We expect corruption, but now without check or interruption. That a few might stuff their pockets, but not racket by the pocket. From the constant comments, we get no recess. Before things fall apart and the riot starts. Even in chutney, I'll tell them go. Make it sooner than later. To protect the future, please. For the sake of we children and the next generation. Go. To safeguard our image. Before Griffith cause more damage. Like a dog with fleas. I don't want it knees. And I beg you, go now. They try to stick me with rage me. Go now. They are more trick than Houdini. Streams turn into rivers, then into seas. That's why I'm singing. Go now. Please, Mrs. Kamla. Go now. Take Munila and Sharma. Go now. Please. Them and them minions, total villains, raking millions. Their slogan, we shall rise, it was so true. Tell John Public not to panic while them and they sidekick. Swimming in a pool of dollars so blue. Like meat-eating vulture, they neglect agriculture. Mega fans of phony, Mama Guy Caroni. Sweet man Glenn and Sharma came face to face with the karma. And it was awful, gone through it to pull. Don't need a big mouth to tell them go. Watch her and see they just follow now. Before we regret tomorrow, please. You're setting a bad example. Family values they trample. Go. It's only vice they desire. Now. Before the 5 years expire. Like a dog with fleas, I don't want it knees. I'm not bleeding gold now. Before we end in bankruptcy. Before they empty the treasury. Streams turn into rivers, then into seas. Is why I'm bleeding gold now. Immediately. And don't forget your AG go. Now, please. Love to quarrel, always oral, highly immoral. They let the good doctor starve to death. Used to court him, once support him, no road to point for him. But once in power, they quickly forget. They love confrontation, so no mediation. The case by the Privy Council, but the warriors is settled. You see, you could make a fortune, filling up a lagoon. The environment is boost out its people too. Is why I want them go. With them old lies they peddling now. It's only PR they selling. They wouldn't tell me the whole truth. The man just wanted a root. Before they carve out a mountain. Before the cost we start counting. Like a dog with fleas, a dog on their knees. And I beg it go now. Always get the contract. Who profit from the kickback? Streams turn into rivers, then into seas. Is why I sing it. Go now. Tell Munila and Surush. It's best they seek refuge. Go now, please.
91.5 Real FM got you covered.
My partner Big J does say, I want to fall. Me, I want to fall. I want to stand up for my rights. Everything appears so easy for the new PM in the city. I say this man is a magician with his golden pen in his hand. See me waiting for miracles, but all I get in is basket and brambles. With lawyer tactics so he could deceive, cause he's so gullible and so naive. By the stroke of a pen, massive increase in salaries. They were broke, so no more money worry. By the stroke of a pen, a whole family on the breadline. A special need child, he was only 9. By the stroke of a pen, embezzlement in lotto, you save a man to make lotto. By the stroke of a pen, the boss flies in helicopter to see kayaks wet in rainwater. The pen never drink, the pen never smoke, but somehow that pen catch a stroke. Man can be serious, like he out to papi show us. Running a country is no game. It's not about likes and fame. You promise sun, wind and rain. What on earth you won't promise again? In the same breath you're changing your mind. No paper to be signed. By the stroke of a pen, free money in GDP, but you must be in certain category. By the stroke of a pen, Chinese houses were snatched away. 70,000 they cannot pay. By the stroke of a pen, planting only black pepper, forget coconut, meg and banana. By the stroke of a pen, make me an ambassador to Dubai, China or Russia. What happened to the damn pen? I don't know. Maybe the ink just stopped flow. If you take back on your promises, with your eloquence come say that with ease. People will certainly understand. Don't afraid to be a man. The country has never been hard so. Use the pen, let some money go. You said we deserve a lot of money. Was that election gimmickry? By the stroke of a pen, bring me on the plane with you. Foreign minister can't help you. By the stroke of a pen, kayaks running from Berry. You shut down the houses that was cruel. By the stroke of a pen, you promised our healthcare will be the best in the hemisphere. By the stroke of a pen, one infant mortality keep hurting family. The pen never drink, the pen never smoke, but somehow that damn pen catch a stroke.
Like the pen catch a stroke. Good afternoon. Igwe, good afternoon to all the listeners on all platforms carrying this particular program. Independent Talk for Sunday, the 27th October 2024, Igwe. How things with you, Igwe?
They are good. Can't complain.
How did Grenada benefit from the trip to Nigeria? So we hope to speak a little bit on that today, Igwe. We hope to speak on the whole health fiasco and making the hospital a statutory body. So says the Minister of Health. We hear a lot about oil, Igwe. As one person said, the place go be booming with oil and contract and so on. We hear one gentleman say he is the biggest seller of grain. That's why we want to know what he sell and what he intend to sell and how much money has he received in his personal capacity. We'll speak a little bit about corruption and the guardrails to corruption, Igwe. But before we give you that, we must have our intro. That Grenada still remains our constituency. Here is our parliament. And we're the people's spokespersons. Protected and guided by the ancient of days, because we ride the high seas Igwe and we come back.
Yeah.
And Igwe have to tell you what he saw in Carriacou. Because we have receipts, you know. So anytime we come and talk about Carriacou again and the housing project close to the dump and all kind of thing.
Yeah, they believe.
We have receipts.
I have it on video too. Building the dump right beside the housing.
The house is beside the dump because
The house is beside the dump, yeah. And then they clear out a spot behind the dump to put houses. So it's mess meet messing.
I thought we'd have drop all the mess whilst we heading west.
Set a garbage in the place.
Yeah, man. So my purpose here is to bring people the facts. And they could check us because we know what we're saying. We have receipts for it. Facts has only one side. Opinion matters not when it comes to facts. What you do with the facts is a matter entirely for you. We're here to advocate for truth and justice even when it doesn't affect us personally, because we believe justice delayed is justice denied. No matter what happens from here on in, truth and justice will be on our side. And history will record us in the right place. We're here not to flatter, not to praise, but to bring the truth, messengers of truth. We're here to bring hope to those who are hurting by the actions of this government. Poor people terrorists and tell them, weep now for joy cometh in the morning. I'm here to advocate for those who cannot do it for themselves. Our currency always, and legal tender is always unvarnished information, truth and facts. Where shame is absent, anything could happen equally. Now we speak to many times here about corruption and this government. So today we'll get into the why. Into the why. And there's two clips in particular I want us to play today. One where the Prime Minister say he is the biggest seller of Grenada. That's his words, not ours. You see, I'm the biggest seller. You heard that clip, get? Eh? And then he have one where he talk about the rallies and the big fete. You heard that one too? Because we need to draw the parallel. Because they say you take a man by his word. So, when we're ready, I'll check you again. Corruption occurs because some individuals are willing to use illicit means like the GDB to maximize personal or corporate gain. However, in order for those individuals to become involved in corrupt activities, circumstances must exist which do not prevent or discourage them from doing so. So, when the Honorable Prime Minister could say he's the biggest seller, it raises eyebrow. When he could always also say that he spoke to, I want to give them the whole thing. The Prime Minister announced that a cricket academy he started in his constituency of St. David will benefit from a gift he accepted from Nigerian private sector businessman Dangote, whom he visited in early October. So, Section 7 of the Code of Conduct for people in public life, a person in public life shall not allow his or her private interest to conflict with his or her public position. Section 8 states, a person in public life shall not take advantage of his or her position for his or her position for his or her private interest. So the question begs, when the Prime Minister accepted that gift from Dangote, was it putting his private interests over the interests of his public position? And that's what we said. When persons are willing to use illicit means to maximize personal gain. So to maximize personal gain, the gift the Prime Minister said he accepted. Based on Section 7 and 8 of the Conduct in Public Life, that smells, that looks, and that has to be corruption. Ego. And we're hearing about sell. Because there was a time we hear who go buy. Because we have to look at those things on them. You could look it down and they go buy out there you go.
Yeah, that did.
Because we connecting the dots, we crossing the T and dotting the I's.
But he was driving at a point, which is, you have to serve the people. If you're hungry mouth, if you beggy, you could come and be parliamentarian. All kind of people go buy you because they know you're hungry mouth. So you see, Mr. Speaker, you're a doctor, you're a professional. That's the point. Because you and I are professionals, we can serve. And people can't buy us.
So, you're living there. So, we heard all about buy. And who they go buy. Because he say who they go buy, you know. If you hungry mouth, and you beggy, they go buy you. But for you to have a buyer, you to have a seller. So, he is the seller. Because you see that, play the clip where you say he's selling grain.
It is my job to be the chief advocate for the beautiful tri-island state of Greater Carriacou and Petit Martinique. And the only way to do that is to leverage me and the office of the Prime Minister to ensure that we can get investors, we can get people interested and talking about Grenada. So with all due respect to the Grenada Tourism Authority and all the advertising, I am the biggest seller of Grenada. So when I go to Nigeria, I'm representing Grenada. Nigerians who never heard of Grenada would have heard of me.
So the question is, what did he go to Nigeria to sell? So all this hogwash about Rwanda and stupidness, all that is hogwash. The intention was to go to Nigeria to sell. But the question is, what did he go to sell? So we need to get a clip where you talk about what you say?
Field state.
No, not field state, man. What you talk about
Feed on the cheap.
you talk about, look at how I forgot the thing now. Because I'm so emotional about this thing. We talk about who pay for the rally and the big fete, man. Because we have to tie the street clips in. We have to make them make sense, harmonize them. We have to balance them out. We have to balance them out equally. Can we take a break, Eagle?
Tell me candid, they too wicked, far too crooked. That is the frequent comment I hear. Too one-sided, underhanded, can't be trusted. This is the opinion, ear to ear. For their own abuses, they keep making excuses. Housing crack up over, they unleash their lawyer. Set up an inquiry just to get Kid Rowley. But they wouldn't sue the false paper screw. I don't need to close to tell them go. Hurry, pack up your bundle now. Stop fooling the people. The country taking a beating. So me plea are repeating. Go. They like a natural disaster. 10 times worse than Ebola. Like a dog with fleas and tongue on their knees. And I begging now we and I did one we prophesy to the country, streams turn into rivers, then into seas. Is why I'm singing, oh, now this is my humble petition. Announce the date for election, go now, please. Accidental, detrimental, could be lethal. Are you willing to take that chance? Much too seedy, they too greedy, eyes too beady. Honeymoon end before the romance. We expect corruption, but now without check or interruption. That a few might stuff their pocket, but not racket by the pocket. From the constant comments, we get no recess before things fall apart.
So when a party gets into power and they behave a certain way, and you can't understand why they're behaving, did the thought ever cross your mind to ask who funded the big rally and the big fete and the jump up? And how do you know that the decisions that seems baffling to you as a citizen may not be decisions that are made in the interest of the people who funded the rallies and the big fete that we went to and jump up and have a good time? If we had laws that says limited, for example, the amount of funding that any individual could give to a political party. If we had laws that said a political party had to report every cent that it got in donations and publish it, our politics will change overnight. But we don't have those laws. And we're not clamoring for it. We don't even seem interested. The OS report talked about that after.
By cockmouth kill cock. So we play 3 clips there and we need to break it down. But before we balance it out, Grenada is set to become a major energy hub as Nigerian oil and gas company has secured a historic multi-billion-dollar deal with GPG, Global Petroleum Group, to launch one of the Caribbean's largest oil and gas ventures. Okay. Nigeria, all of a sudden the Prime Minister get up and go in Nigeria, just so. And just so, we start to hear about oil and gas. Just so. All the time, the disciples and cronies of the National Democratic Congress used to say NNP lying about oil and gas. Then just so, a trip from Rwanda come up. They say you have some sickness here and there. And just so, the economy shall end up in Nigeria. Just so he go by a billionaire who deals in oil and gas to make every Grenadian get rich fast. And just so we seen some arguments signed with GPG for Grenada oil and gas. All that thing and them happen just so. So we asking now, and we have to balance it out with what is really happening. And we play those 3 clips to draw parallels as to the operation of this present government. First, the Prime Minister made it known to the nations that there are certain politicians, because of the economic reality, they could be bought. And everybody sat still and listened this hogwash. Then we hear the man who knows who could be bought, and he qualifies what makes them sellable, say he is the biggest seller of Grenada. So the man who knows who could be bought, because to be bought, he must have something to sell. He say, well, I'm the biggest seller. That we stay there, you know. So we balancing it out with the 3 clips. That his words, we don't add in nothing, we just think. And then he says, whenever you see strange decisions made by a government in power, you ought to know who pays for the rally and the big fete. So the question is, who paid for NDC rallies and big fete? And that is the juncture we at. So is the oil and gas engineering company in Nigeria, did they pay? So now they're being rewarded with a contract for oil and gas? I hope he go make every Grenadian get rich fast. Alas, because this government playing the cow. So we have to stay open. So with all the old talk in the air, Igwe, about some saying election near, is it, or does that contract we hearing about guarantee that the election money is secured, Igwe? Because some persons dare us to think that the ruling administration plans to call an early election. And we're seeing some movements, Igwe. So we have to stay woke. And like I say, corruption occurs when fellas trying to maximize. And for those individuals to stay in that the circumstances must exist, like existing here, you can't talk, you can't say nothing. People know who could be bought. People know who is the best seller. All that is the cesspit of corruption, Igwe. So we have to stay and keep our eyes open wide. So we want to ask the Prime Minister, or somebody ask the Prime Minister for me, the gift for the academy, was it surrendered to the Integrity Commission? Because you see, you go benefit from the gift. Yeah, you say you accept the gift. We don't know what is in return. We don't know if it's quid pro quo. We don't know if the Nigerian oil company linked to Dangote. We don't know what Dangote promised him. We don't know what the agreement entails, if there's an agreement. And the gentleman we know, he know who could be bought. He know he's the biggest seller. And he knows he don't have no campaign laws. Play that last clip again, because people to hear the last part of the clip with campaign laws. So any amount of money could come.
Yes. So when a party gets into power and they behave a certain way, and you can't understand why they're behaving, did the thought ever cross your mind to ask who funded the big rally and the big fete and the jump up? And how do you know that the decisions that seems baffling to you as a citizen may not be decisions that are made in the interest of the people who funded the rallies and the big fete that we went to and jump up and have a good time? If we had laws that says limited, for example, the amount of funding that any individual could give to a political party, if we had laws that said a political party had to report every cent that it got in donations and publish it, our politics will change overnight. But we don't have those laws. And we're not clamoring for it. We don't even seem interested. The OS report talked about that after.
So if we do have those laws, he's not interested. He's not clamoring for it because he knows he don't have to report. So even though Dangote give him money for campaigning, he don't have to report that. He don't know that already.
You know that,
So you see where we at in terms of corruption, and it goes back to the big question: who is running things? Who run things? And that is serious business ego. And that is why we have to be vigilant. We cannot keep our eyes closed. We cannot forget nepotism, because nepotism leads to corruption. And that in itself is creating a culture and the foundation for the abuse of power by those in power. One of our real listeners celebrating another year today. Daisy. So we have to give Daisy a little big up. As per usual.
Tune it up.
How you going? Happy birthday to you. Get you have to join in. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daisy. Happy birthday to you. Right. Igwe. Well, we come out up now.
Yeah.
And you say, man, I want you to tell the people your observation of Carriacou.
Carriacou is in a mess. Like big mess. And there's people that want a little tank to get water. And they put fuller tank. And they can't get.
And what is sad?
I don't know.
We spoke to persons in terms of tank and water. And the MP for Carriacou knows the people. Because during the election campaign, the MP say, come over.
Yeah.
Come over. So it's not to say you don't know them. But now, to get a tank.
Carriacou is in a sad state, bro.
Well, we have the receipts and the empirical evidence.
Houses are...
Because we took mucho photos.
What do you mean? Drone shot.
But the one that got me Igwe is how the area they clean up to build houses right on the dump.
Yeah.
Not more than 300 meters away.
I find less. We watching it from behind, so it looks, I think it's less. It's like right there. Across the field. That's how you look to me. I don't know. How you find?
What?
I'm one of them great here.
And then you have a farm or something right there. Because we see a sort of sheep and animals and things.
Yeah, we see some sheep and thing. I don't know. And
the
next set of housing is right there.
And I just don't get it that the minister and prime minister are boasting and say so much has been done. Even the road from the hospital.
Block.
Yeah.
So you have to use the one way to go back down.
Yeah.
That is dotish.
And the Minister of Health was right there, so.
That's shocking.
So when they come on to the media and claim that a lot has been done, I don't find I see that. Or maybe them places where they do hiding, like when they see us, like those places where they say, and them houses and things they build, maybe hiding. So they say massacre and gates they up here, you know. They we hide all that.
Hide all the mouse on them.
Because it had to be because we went around the place.
I mean, we go right wrong. The only thing I see what catch me is this garbage. Mountain of garbage.
And then somebody tell us, well, finally, they get some company to come and treat with. And they say, how much? $2 million US. They have to pay the company to treat with the garbage. So another set of funds again. Igwe, the place up there look bleak.
Yeah, man.
You have to do better than that to the people of Carriacou because we saw it with our own eyes.
Yeah, man. Carriacou dirty still, man.
Yeah, man. They have to do something better than that, man. And the RL, well, tarpaulins, little tents.
Little tents, people still living in tents.
And we was of the view that you have some places, based on the condition we see, that place and they might never come back in.
Yeah, some of them places destroyed still. I don't think people's go get back most of the houses. But the tents, remember tent is a thing after rain wet it, sun dried. After about a month in a tent, you leak in it. Them tent and them those strong is a kind of funny material.
But as we go on programs, we go share the images and so on.
Yeah.
So persons to get an appreciation for what is really going on.
I could show them the garbage because I took it with my phone.
Yeah, Igwe. There was a time, Igwe, we heard a lot about the same oil and gas. We heard about the shrimp farm. We heard about the chicken farm. We heard the call centers. And the supporters of the National Democratic Congress was claiming corruption. I would say that to them. If there is evidence of corruption, as you spoke about oil and gas, and the Prime Minister don't mash up that argument now, because the signing thing. Shrimp farmer, stop here to talk about that. Chicken farm, well, you have one going on now with one of them. They can't really see. The call centers continue. So if there's evidence of that, almost 3 years, and how come Claudette don't instruct nobody to lock up nobody yet? But what we want to know, Igwe, we want to know about nation builders. Because since after they get the money, like we don't hear anything about them again. How was the organization able to get monies from the state before even being registered? That is the kind of questions we want to ask and get answers for. We want to know about the allegations of MPs bribing police officers. There's an allegation out. We want to know about the selling of diplomatic positions, allegedly. We want to know about the high level of nepotism, such as boyfriend and girlfriend managing a statutory body law too. We want to hear. And all kind of, well, they have a knife up a lot of, they're taking it slow. We want to hear about spouse of MPs holding position, which is clear conflict of interest. We want to know about the monies raised using the office of the Prime Minister at galas that are missing and allegedly deposited into private accounts of politicos. We want to know about the continued interference in the operations of GDB. Person getting money for the children to go and study, person getting money to pay up debt. We want to know about the allegation of MPs, the allegations of MPs using state funds to solicit rainfall on the galvanized. We want to know about the allegations of misappropriation of money sent to the state for burial relief efforts. These are some questions that could affect the image of the country Igwe. And as such, we're looking for answers. So Igwe, the government is not meeting the expectations of the people Igwe. And persons could see what we're talking about in Carriacou. Because when we come here, we don't come here to slander, we just come to give facts. Let it fall where it may. Igwe. So these are some issues which we need clarification from the powers that be. Igwe, on a few past programs on this station, we delved into the health situation and the hospital. And we add our own 2 pence.
What they're seeing now is the road from the hospital block.
Who's saying that?
They're seeing that right now.
And first of all, we asking the Prime Minister to relieve Philip Telesford of the post of Health Minister. The post too big for him. He went on a social media platform and literally lied to the Grenadian public. The public asked over and over, but he refused to be straight with the Grenadian public, in so much as the Prime Minister had to cut some of his traveling. Because he couldn't travel because he had to travel to media houses to try to beat back destabilization, because Philip Telesford did not perform with distinction on that particular interview. So on hearing this, Real FM, this program, we sought to speak to the people on making the body a statutory body. But we also caution in making it statutory the concerns of the people whose economic reality wouldn't allow them to seek health care because they don't have the money to do that. So we say maybe statutarization is something good. We also know from information and facts that statutory, making the hospital statutory, was simply not an original idea of the National Democratic Congress. Studies was done through the University of the West Indies, hospitals in the US, and one of the primary concerns was national health insurance and the poor and vulnerable, how would they able to access health care? Because there would be a cost. Because when you make it statutory, you would allow the body to attract good people, professionals, and to attract them, $6,000 can keep a professional here. A doctor don't live in where you come here and work for $6,000 easy. That won't happen. You got to pay more. So by that, fees would go up for healthcare. And the concern is about the small man. What's all them people and them who you pay in $150? Because healthcare would have a cost. And we understand this. We know a board has to be set up. And all those issues. But how you treat with the smaller man, that is the acid test in countries like ours. So Mr. Philip Telles was announced that the General Hospital will become statutory on the 1st January 2025. And stated that the board of directors will be established for the hospital by that date. The starting date for the statutory body is coming before 2025 budget, and the budget has to speak to. The budget is expected to be presented sometime in January or February, but I see that budget will come in March. Because real people believe the election budget. So, tokenism and niceties go be in that budget. It is also a point to note that government agencies normally receive a subvention when becoming a statutory body. Therefore, it is believed that the General Hospital Authority will not be able to get that subvention if the budget is ready in March and it becomes statutory on the 1st of January. So a lot of hogwash again. Maybe the intent might be a good one. Or are we to believe the ends would justify the means? Then we heard all the long talk about some Mount Sinai. So has the report from Mount Sinai already been received? Has the consultant from that entity submit their report to government? Well, they catch Philip to the boundary road to Carriacou like a light shining Philip highway. Philip had to spit it out finally. But Philip, they have to make you go, man. No. You don't perform a distinction. A man of God like you don't want to perform a distinction. Why? So Igwe, the question is, are we getting cat in bag? Or the true persons who run the country instruct this government, that is the way to go. So you go, we run through the first hour, so we could start entertaining calls as we go along.
Yeah.
So persons could call it.
I think we have one with you.
Right, it is.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hey, man.
Well, if hospital, if they're going to make statutory body by January 4th, 2025, statutory, and they're going and start to build a hospital in 2026, who fooling who?
Mm-hmm.
Who fooling who? Statutory? We ain't building no hospital. They ain't building no hospital. We gonna lock them up there. We fencing there. We gonna lock them up there. Say. You ask about the what? Integrity in public life. I want to know. I asking all of that every time. I want to know who is in charge of that and where the office is.
I'll get the information first, so the next time I come back here, I'm going to give you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Have a good one. I'm coming back later on again.
Yeah.
Somebody said to ask Mr. Nazim V. what he know about Block 21. So Mr. Buck, they say to ask you what you know about Block 21. So yes, Igwe. So we finally come to the point where a date is given to make the hospital. You see, the board of directors will be established by that date. But then the budget will be read after, so I don't know. You let go.
Good afternoon.
I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness.
Cry out.
Of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitimatnik.
Yes, brother.
Master Carl, it seems to me like you and Igwe was off the station for years. Knowing that the way that people are addicted to your program. I wish that you will never leave the program to do anything once you know there are people to listen. A pleasant good day to you and the Igwe.
You is a man of God.
Yes.
And you know about the Apostle Paul.
Yes, sir.
And you know he preached the gospel.
Exactly.
But then he had to survive, so he started to make tent and sell.
Exactly.
So
right.
me and Igwe had to survive.
Exactly. Even though you all do have to make 10, but you all have to do.
We have to do
things,
something.
Yes? Wonderful.
Because we can't go hungry, because we're not like the prophet in the wilderness. We don't have no raven to bring bread and water for.
And I quite agree with you. So welcome back on board. It's light.
And we don't have wild honey and locusts here.
Yes,
if we had wild honey and locusts, we didn't mind.
Yes, right.
So cry out.
I am very much concerned. And when I say very much concerned, I'm very, very much concerned and worried in the sense that first time in the history of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitimatnik, we have a prime minister that tampering and disrespecting the laws and principle that govern our country since even in the days of independence and before independence. And I am seeing the behavior pattern of that young prime minister disrespecting the laws that govern every institution that the principle of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitimatnik is built upon. For example, the GDB Bank, among others. And if we as Grenadians, and I'm speaking as a senior citizen, sir, and if we as Grenadians do not take a firm stand against Deacon Mitchell and his ideology, where Grenada is concerned, as far as I am seeing as a senior citizen, Deacon Mitchell is going to change our constitution of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitimatnik. In a nutshell, our democracy is at risk. What example are we showing to our younger generation that is coming? And I discovered, and based on what I am seeing here, and I already said it, the things that Deacon Mitchell is doing, the things that Deacon Mitchell is saying, I believe that the guy is not mentally well. Because you will just, Deacon Mitchell, you will just get up one morning and just change that. Do this, do that. And it appears to me that he's feeling the pulse of the Grenadian people. And that is why he is getting away with a lot of things. Where is the Tillman Thomas? Mr. Accountability, Mr. Transparency, and Mr. Good Government. What I am seeing is that Grenada is going down a trajectory that if we as citizens do not put our foot down, we will be having a rebellious nation later on. Oh, you as a prime minister, that no cannabis and marijuana is illegal, and promote it by standing close to it and take a picture of it. We are going down a bad road. All the laws that concern our institution is being tampered with. Mr. Deacon Mitchell, you is operating like somebody who is above the law, and nobody can touch you. So you could say for October the 19th, no music. But you had music playing at the park, and good music, where you had the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ron Gonzalez, was having a good time with amplified music. And Master Carl, before I close, I have that to say. I listened to a message for Senator Gloria Thomas, and also a message for my dear friend Delma Thomas. Now, this is not politics. I heard you, Senator Gloria Thomas, make a boast of the amount of houses that you had built. Congratulations. You make a boast of the amount of houses that you have repaired. Congratulations. You make a boast and a brag of the amount of toilet you had built. Congratulations. But Senator Gloria Thomas, with due respect to you from my area, we school together. Honorable Delma Thomas, we're from the same area. But while I respect the amount of project houses and toilets and other things that you do, I am wondering why up to this present time, after the passage of Beryl as a hurricane, we have people in St. Andrews Northwest, houses that are not repaired and fixed as yet. Right at the top of Lafayette Hill, we saw a house that is badly need of repairs. You go down close around off the down by the bus shed, there is another house there. There is another house there. There are one or two houses in Lafayette that need fixed very bad and very quick. So while I applaud you, Madam Senator Gloria Thomas, for fixing houses, I applaud that. But I want to draw your attention to some houses in Lafayette. Please do it and bring some relief to the people in St. Andrews Northwest. I thank you. Master Carl, I rest my case for now.
All right.
Okay, Pastor. Somebody ask you if I is a City fan. Ron.
Yeah, Ron.
Ron, yeah, why is a City fan? Anyway, Pep. Anyway, Pep go. I supporting that team. Yeah. So the pastor make some points there. He say they both seen about the fixed place, but you have some place that need fixing still.
A lot. We seen it.
And Carriacou is like they don't fix no place.
Blue Tampo.
And then based on the conversation we had with that gentleman, he didn't speak too good about the insurance. We don't call his name.
No, we don't call his name.
But he say the insurance, here one particular woman, the insurance gave her $2,000. I mean, that is absurd.
That is wrong.
If that is true, that is really, really bad. And multiple persons have been told by the insurance they place undervalue and all kind of hogwash. Which is sad. Real sad. We have one again?
Not yet.
So you see
It is my job to be the chief advocate for the beautiful trial state of Grenada, Carriacou. And the only way to do that is to leverage me and the office of the Prime Minister to ensure that we can get investors, we can get people interested and talking about Grenada. So with all due respect to the Grenada Tourism Authority and all the advertising, I am the biggest seller of Grenada. So when I go to Nigeria, I'm representing Grenada. Nigerians who never heard of Grenada would have heard of me.
So the question is, when they vote him out of office, he still going to be the chief seller of Grenada or the biggest seller? Huh?
Let me see.
So, in the discussion with making the hospital statutory, we heard about the budget. Although there is nothing illegal about reading the budget in March, let's take the call. Good day, caller.
Master Call.
Yay!
This statement by the Prime Minister is frightening.
Yeah, ask him what he will sell.
This statement, I'm wondering if that young man is conscious of the statement that he is making. How could you make a statement to the world with due respect to the Ministry of Tourism and with all the advertising? You is the biggest seller of Grenada, Mr. Deacon Mitchell. This is Pastor Louis speaking here. Do you engage your brain before you put your mouth in there? What message are you sending?
You see,
why everything is about you and me?
I could unfold this thing, but if I say it on the air, people won't be pleased. All I would say, just check about rain falling on galvanized and post office workers.
What is rain
and you
going
will
on?
understand what he say.
But Master Cole, it is also an insult and a discouragement to the hard-working people in the Ministry of Tourism. And if you could tell them, with due respect to you and your advertisement, I am the biggest seller of Grenada. In other words, what you sell in the Ministry of Tourism, what are you doing to sell Grenada is just stupid.
But listen this. When the Prime Minister spoke about beggy and hungry mouth, he didn't only speaking about persons in Parliament.
No.
He knew the economic realities of most Grenadians. How much Grenadians are working for more than $3,000 a month?
Thank you very much.
And once you're working for more than that, you're poor. So he knows the economic realities of persons. So he could say that.
And you have people sitting there listening to this quality of statement, even all your cabinet members listening to that statement, and are you grieving over this statement? But the reason why you all cannot say nothing, because all you have only $25,000 every month to collect.
And then whilst he was saying that, I saw a comment, a breath of fresh air. So a dictator at large becomes a breath of fresh air.
Come on.
A corrupter in chief becomes a thing. Because he's so emboldened. He telling us how he accept gift. He accept gift for his academy. He's so emboldened.
Our country in trouble, you know.
So all who sits and talk about a breath of fresh air is complicit.
Grenada in trouble, you know. I'm telling you. One more statement, I'm telling you. The Prime Minister is not a member of the National Democratic Congress, Nazim Bok, Glenn Noel, Tillman Thomas. Deacon Mitchell is not a member of the National Democratic Congress. I'm begging all you, open all your eyes and see that that NDC party has been hijacked, and the time will come when all you, listen, mark that dead down, Master Carl. The time will come when all those MPs and them that receiving that big salary, none of all you will never be a member of parliament in the not too distant future. None of all you.
Before you go,
none.
There was a time in Grenada's history when Michael Baptiste and Anstem Cloud and them call unsuspecting Grenadians and say they had a smoking gun.
Yes, sir.
Or some briefcase. And all the moralists in Grenada beat up on Dr. Mitchell.
Red Blues. I never forget that.
Then our Prime Minister come and put money in the private account. They had nothing to say.
I remember when Tillman Thomas come out in Parliament and Tillman Thomas have he bail a paper below him and Tillman Thomas knock it and he say, had it tape here? Michael Batty say, we playing it in Munich in the community center and never forget this thing. Where all these people that remember that?
So the Prime Minister say they pay for a trip to go in Nigeria. Not a drum beat. All the moralists like Sandra Forwardson and the Deputy Governor General and them, you only starting to go and beat confusion with Kit Mitchell and NNP. You don't say nothing. You don't hear Brother Wheelie. You don't hear Ray Robertson say nothing.
Nothing whatsoever.
The man say he accept gift for his academy. They don't say nothing.
What? The time is coming. The time, and listen, and this behavior of this young fella is a dictatorship behavior. But I want to let Dick and Mitchell know, pressure does burst pipe. If you believe, sir, that you're feeling the pulse of the Grenadian people, and you believe that you could do what you want, I want to let you know, Judge Brison wrote a book, Grenada, the Island, a Conflict. Mr. Dick and Mitchell, you don't know Grenadian yet. You's a new kid on the block. The time go come, sir, when they can't take it. You creating an atmosphere for the Grenadian population to rebel against you. And they send a message for you already, you know. You saw what they did for October 19 with your so-called heroes there. When you pull the plug and say no amplify music, Grenada population is over 110 to 15,000 people. You saw how they boycott you and you stupid heroes there, and they did not come to the park, and you still have to end up paying all them dozens and dozens of buses that run empty. Grenadian, Deacon, Amis, Mitchell, I respect you, sir. Be careful. You is going to make this beautiful island, who was once the island of spice, become a country like Haiti. God forbid. With you, that is Pastor Louis speaking here. I'm warning you, Mr. Deacon Mitchell. Your family, your mother and your father did not die if they're still alive. Show me the will that your parents dead and leave Grenada for you. You too small for that. You too young for that. Stop it. I'm warning you. Stop it and respect our laws of our institution. If you don't do that, you have a rebellious time coming, and our young generation is going to feel it. Stop your nonsense.
Before you go passing,
stop it.
The Americans say Grenada is a false scam. Papa Blaze say what? Grenada is like milk on fire. As you turn your back, you go
Thank you. Thank you very much. So you sit on me and believe
so
you as a young prime minister
what happened?
Could come to do what no other prime minister do. And when they think about leverage, you're leveraging me. With due respect to you, the Ministry of Education and all your advertising, I am the biggest seller. And when these people of Nigeria do not know about Grenada, they know about me. Careful.
But one question I want you to ask for me, Pastor.
Careful.
Pastor.
Yes, sir.
More people does listen to you than me, so I want you to ask that question for me. Now, and Gates, we have to get that clip, you know, permanent. As soon as we will get it. We are just telling you. I want you to ask, how you say, Deacon Amis Mitchell? The hospital workers, the nurses, seeing that he, through Philip Telesford, say that he'll make the hospital statutory. What happens to that promise of permanent?
Well, that goes on the journey of MasterCard. That was only to get into office?
Because we know once you abolish any post, where persons are appointed by the Public Service Commission, it renders that person under the 1958 import.
Exactly.
And they have to be paid as
every
though.
cent, a lot of money.
So
a lot of money.
We look forward.
And not only that, Master Carl, but do you know that if the hospital, they statutarize the hospital, do you know, and Grenadian, open all your eyes. I don't afraid to talk, and I tell all you already. I didn't leave me more to me, mama. I born with it. For the statutarizing, how you call it, of the hospital, we going to have a lot, plenty more dead people in Grenada. Right now, people go in the hospital and they go get a little attendance free.
The other done, son done.
Come again?
When that happens, son done.
When you hear that happen, son done, you go pay for your x-ray, you go pay for your ultrasound. They're not going to attend to you free. I'm warning all you Grenadian. I'm warning all you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, I'm pleading again to the NNP supporters. Dr. Kit Mitchell, you is the head of the opposition. We have to take this thing more heavy. I'm begging the NDC, Uncle Tilly, Nazimbok, Glenwell, but they have the Glenwell, but I love you so much. But this is where they put you in Cuba. Because you know, in the name of Jesus, if all you had Glenwell in Grenada, he would have punched you good. Are you hide him in Cuba? Where Sylvester Qualis, are you get together and take back the NDC party from Deacon? Are you take it back? Because later on, are you the NDC go get the blame? Deacon Mitchell is not a NDC, he's an imposter.
Let me show you a right pastor.
Take care.
Don't go yet.
I'm very emotional this evening. You know?
No, don't go yet. We have to discuss this. Now you raise an issue there, and it's like deja vu. In the revolution, all who they believe would be a hindrance, either they jail them or they send them out.
Exactly.
So we seeing that now again, eh?
Exactly.
They don't jailing them or they sending them out.
So, Master Carl, is it really transformation? And if we have to choose between the word transformation and restoration, it is restoration.
And corruption.
Now you want to be like swine and vote report from what Grenadian, let us pray for this country. Mr. Michael P. always saying that Deacon Mitchell is a fake, and he always asks the question, who sent that? And I want all you, when you're Deacon Mitchell, listen, before I go massacre, Grenadian, Pastor Luis here, when Deacon Mitchell speaking, watch that man mouth. When Deacon Mitchell speaking, watch his eyes. And anytime you hear this man speaking, and I noticed that when that man was campaigning, before you ask that man a question, he had the pastor for every soul. Something wrong somewhere.
Listen that, Pastor. When Deacon Mitchell just arrived on the scene, he went to Tivoli, and he was by a shop, a guy they call Daigo. And a gentleman said he had a conversation with Deacon Mitchell for half an hour. And every question he asked Deacon, he had an answer.
And that is not good enough?
My grandmother tell me, anytime I see a man who know everything, something wrong.
Something wrong somewhere? And I said that people around the man believe that, oh, he's brilliant, and he this, and he that, and he brilliant. And let me tell you something. If Grenadian do carefully, some of you do be careful. Like it seems to me that from some members of the NDC, I don't care what Deacon Mitchell do, I do like what you do. Walk on the airport, everybody gonna walk on the airport. Did they go come? Did they go come? Arrest my case. Did they go come?
Before you go again, you think nice.
Have a good day, man.
Somebody asked before you go past the last one. Can someone with an appointment by the Public Service Commission work with a statutory body? What legal precedent
conflict of interest
is there for this? When the hospital is statutarized, then what happens to the appointed nurses and staff?
Thank you very much. And that's the reason why he promised them the permanent, but up to this present time, you never give them. You lie, Mr. Deacon. You lie for us, boy. You lie for the money.
So
you
your Columbus brother?
They jump up. They're glad. They vote for you. You say you're changing that with the stroke of a pen. Oh God, I almost vote for you. But when I heard you said about bringing a net for the seaweed, I said no, something is wrong with that man. You make them vote for you. You lie to the people just because you want to get in there. And you know what happened? All what your life and you, Mr. Phillips Telesford, as soon as you come, you're going to make everybody prominent. But you know the AG? The AG was honest a little bit. The AG, Clyde Joseph, she was honest a little bit by telling them, hey, he can't walk. Let us continue to pray for this country. Later.
All right, Pastor. You go there, serious discussion.
For the new PM in the city, I say this man is a magician with his golden pen in his hand. See me waiting for miracles, but all I get in is basket and bramble with lawyer tactics so he could deceive. Cause we so gullible and so naive. By the stroke of a pen, massive increase in salaries. They were broke, so no more money worry. By the stroke of a pen, a whole family on the breadline. A special need child, he was only 9. By the stroke of a pen, embezzlement in lotto, you save a man to make lacko. By the stroke of a pen, the boss flies in helicopter to see kayaks wet in rainwater. The pen never drink, the pen never smoke, but somehow that pen catch a stroke. I say this man can be serious, like he out to papi show us. Running a country is no game. It's not about likes and fame. You promise sun, wind and rain. What on earth you won't promise again? In the same breath you're changing your mind. No paper to be signed. By the stroke of a pen, free money in GDP, but you must be in certain category. By the stroke of a pen, Chinese houses were snatched away. 70,000 they cannot pay. By the stroke of a pen, planting only black pepper, forget coconut, meg and banana. By the stroke of a pen, make me an ambassador to Dubai, China or Russia. What happened to the damn pen? I don't know. Maybe the ink just stopped flowing. Back on your promises, with your eloquence come say that with ease. People will certainly understand. Don't afraid to be a man. The country has never been hard, so use the pen, let some money go. You said we deserve a lot of money. Was that election gimmickry? By the stroke of a pen, bring me on the plane with you. Foreign minister can't help you. By the stroke of a pen, kayaks running from Beryl. You shut down the houses that was cruel. By the stroke of a pen, you promised our healthcare will be the best in the hemisphere. By the stroke of a pen, one infant mortality keep hurting family. The pen never drink, the pen never smoke, but somehow that damn pen catch a stroke. They say today's walk on a boat bridge cost 90,000. I wonder in whose hands that money gone. 200 houses each at 50 grand. That can never be 15 million. I wonder in whose hands the 5 million and gone. Supplementary budget, holy bar duplication. Greedy Allah CD, money misappropriation. Take heed, God forbid, please don't get sick. Cause once you're rich in the hospital, not even a forensic. Alleged corruption in the NLA. Do your investigation and please report to Simon Says.
From the north, covering south, east, and west. This is Real FM.
Tell me candid, they too wicked, far too crooked. That is the frequent comment I hear. Too one-sided, underhanded, can't be trusted. This is the opinion, ear to ear. For their own abuses, they keep making excuses. Housing crack up over, they unleash their lawyer. Set up an inquiry just to get Kid Rowley. But they wouldn't sue the false paper screw. I don't need to come close to tell them go. Hurry, pack up your bundle now. Stop fooling the people. The country taking a beating. So maybe I repeating. Go. They're like a natural disaster. Now. 10 times worse than Ebola. Like a dog with fleas and tongue on their knees. And I'm begging. Now we and I did one week. From the side to the country, streets turn into rivers, then into seas. Is why I'm singing. Now this is my humble petition. Announce the date for election. Go now, please. Accidental, detrimental, could be lethal. Are you willing to take that chance? Much too seedy, they too greedy, eyes too beady. Honey will end before the romance. Expect corruption, but now it's all check or interruption. That a few might stuff the pocket, but not racket by the pocket. From the constant commerce, we get no recess. Before things fall apart and the riot starts. Even in chat me, I'll tell them go. Make it sooner than later. To protect the future, please. For the sake of we children and the next generation. Go. To safeguard our image. Before Griffith cause more damage. Like a dog with fleas and down on their knees. And I'm begging, go now. They try to stick me with fish me. They have more trick.
Igwe,
Yes, sir.
you have any calls?
No, not yet.
A pride comes before a fall. The question is, Igwe, this Prime Minister, or the holder of the office of Prime Minister in Grenada, welcomes and treats foreign leaders' visit as kings. But on the other hand, the local leaders, he refers to them as hungry mouth, beggy, and they go by you. That can never be a good man. The tourism ministry and the disdain on his face when he speaks to them, that is a lack of patriotism, Igwe. A serious lack. Look at how the president he invited for Independence and Ralph Gonzalez for Heroes Day. He treats them like king. But he maligned Dr. Mitchell. The opposition MPs, he treat them with utter contempt. And his own among them He labeled them beggy and hungry mouth. And that is the antecedents. That is the content of the guy. And that raises serious questions about the gentleman Igwe. I thought I should make that point so persons could understand. So, it raises statutarization in itself. Like I say from off the bat, I'm not one against statutarization. We getting some noise?
We have a WhatsApp call. Let's take it.
Yeah, take it.
We'll fix that. Hello?
Afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey.
Igwe.
Blessings.
Master Carl. How
Wago.
things? Watch me. I mean, to start by repeating, I'm a person who like to repeat things, but I think that in saying that, what I'm going to say first is more for emphasis. Grenada in serious trouble. And how much people are cognizant of what is actually going on when they hear words, especially spoken by the Prime Minister, and sometimes justified and backed up by those who so blindly support and go along with, where serious analysis need to be done, serious consideration, and take off the blinkers from your eye so that you will see things objectively for what they are worth. I'm telling you something, that we are so lacking in of evidence of such a thing nowadays, that the people who are making sure that things work for them in this country are going to only bring down this country right down to the ground. It's a serious situation. Let me first address for a few seconds the issue of the statutarization, if that is a contemplated thing. I heard the Prime Minister say something about that, but it doesn't seem like it is so seriously considered so far, because with the 18 months, I think, contract or agreement that they have with Mount Sinai, it is more, as they have explained, for consultation aspects of things, where they are looking into things. Now, understand this for sure, that if the hospital is statutarized, technically speaking, you are statutarizing the whole healthcare system in Grenada, as operated by government. So that all nurses, all health centers and so on has to fall under that, or should be falling under it. I can see how I could separate the hospital from the village and constituency, if you might call it that, or the outer parish health facilities. All of them are supposed to come under one. But that we could deal with as time goes on. So I'm not too apprehensive about that yet, because how practical that would be in a Grenada context, I'm afraid it is very impractical. All for now, it's so appear in my mind. But relative to the whole issue of the behavior of the Prime Minister as it relates to the justification he brought forward, or all the justifications he brought forward in that interview that he did with Innocent last week, Tuesday. It is amazing some of the things that man say, and people don't seem to get the significance of them yet. And to the extent I'll juxtapose something that happened on Thursday morning on that same station where he did the interview, on a program called To The Point, where a caller called Oli, he was the first caller, and he spoke in a way that to a lot of people, he referred to the Prime Minister in a derogatory term, where he called him so-called Prime Minister, and he went as far as calling him a boy, or the boy. He referred to him as the boy. The second caller is a caller who I know for sure justifies everything that the Prime Minister and this government is doing. He's a good friend of mine. We talk sometime about issues, not as we used to before. And he was the first one who objected to the statement that the first caller made, to the extent that whilst the program initially that the host called for people to comment on the Prime Minister's presentation in the interview that he did with him 2 days before. It was not taken that way that morning. The program became the statement that the first caller made, as he referred to the Prime Minister, as so-called Prime Minister and the boy. But here it is. My good friend called, and like I said, he was the second caller. He objected and criticized the first caller. Fine. Whether he's right or wrong, I'm not getting into that. All the other callers called and did that. But close to the end of the program, which takes an hour, close to the end of the program, he called back. Because some people during the program called and pointed out that when Kit Mitchell was in power, the same caller used to be saying the same set of words. And nobody objected to it. So a few callers pointed out how hypocrite Grenadians are, or these people are objecting so vehemently about the man calling him so-called Prime Minister and so on. How hypocrite they were, because the same thing he used to do when Kit Mitchell was there. The caller, who is my good friend, I'm saying now, called back close to the end of the program and justify saying that when Kit Mitchell was there, he didn't deserve respect because respect is on. And Kit Mitchell has been disrespecting the Grenadian people. So calling him so-called Prime Minister, nothing was wrong with that. I mean, how callous, stupid and idiotic people could be. So that everything like that blinds your eye.
That is hard.
Hatred blinds your eye to the extent that one thing is right today, that same one thing is wrong tomorrow. Or it is wrong yesterday, or it is wrong today and right yesterday. You know, the whole mix-up and confusion show itself. But when you listen to the Prime Minister, the mix-up and confusion that he presented that day, no one takes a look at it. To the extent that not only that the man said that he's the number one seller for Grenada, he justifies snubbing 2 meetings he used to emphasize how good he is at presenting Grenada to the world. Meeting with private citizens, and he emphasized a whole lot about the Nigerian man he met with. He was not invited to Nigeria by the government.
Nope.
The whole of Nigerians would see him or hear about him. There was no need for a presentation by anybody. He went and do a private meeting with a multi-millionaire who he claimed to be apparently one of the richest men in Africa. Whether he's actually the richest. And he got some 1,000 football kits for the youngsters in Grenada. Fine, but hello, he met with a private citizen.
And he accept a gift.
Being the best seller so far. I have not heard anything much about that man having been doing state visit around the world. When he goes to the Middle East, to all the Arab countries that he visits, as far as I understand it, is private citizens he meets with. I've never heard him do a state visit to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, or any other countries on them. Right? So here is the thing. It justifies saying people talking about him flying all over the place. And that is not so correct as far as he is concerned, because he used 2 opportunities to show that he's not interested in just flying about the place.
Let me tell you something, Carla. It start bothering him now that people talk. He didn't so bother before, but he get into him now, so he's trying to justify.
But listen how dumb the man sung. When he justified going to see private citizens all over the world, and he's publishing Grenada in the process, he is saying that he had 2 opportunities. One, where the American government, represented by the Vice President, Ms. Kamala Harris, came to talk to the Caribbean leaders that were invited to the meeting, and he didn't go. Poor thing. The Prime Minister of Canada, Mr. Trudeau, had meetings with Caribbean leaders where Grenada was invited. He was invited, put it that way too. He didn't go. Poor thing. A man who is a prime minister of a country, given precedence, given priority to meeting private citizens in various states and countries
That's for
that have
himself.
nothing to do with government. Well, obviously it is for himself. That has nothing to do with government. When bilateral agreements, geopolitics is based on the kind of meeting that the 2 meetings that he refused to go to. Bilateral agreements, government to government, which is guaranteed things. That man is so naive, and I mean, the youth. This man is not so young, I don't know why people usually talk about him as a young man. That man reached a stage where he's close to 50, and that's the kind of understanding and level of understanding that man has. And you're telling me that this man is qualified to be prime minister of this country? He doesn't understand the country he lives in. He doesn't understand the politics he ends up in. He must have an agenda that has nothing to do with Grenada. That's obvious. Because when he needs to meet with the vice president of the United States, the prime minister of Canada, he refused to be a part of that meeting. It sends a clear signal. I remember Dr. Fletcher and I had a conversation one time, which used to happen so often. And he was telling me there was a meeting that was to be held with America and the Caribbean, or the American government and a lot of Caribbean leaders. And Miss Madeleine Albright was the foreign minister. Well, in the Caribbean and in the English terms, in the English system, we call such people foreign ministers. Mm-hmm. So she being the Secretary of State of the United States, she's like the foreign minister of the United States. Mm-hmm. She had a meeting with the Caribbean leaders. And she specifically singled him out for a meeting, Dr. Fletcher. She wanted to meet that man called Dr. Fletcher. You see the significance of what I'm talking about? And she could have potentially be the next president of the United States, maybe. Because once you know, like Kamala Harris is now the next potential big one. She being the leader, one of the leaders, I should say, of America, was finding Dr. Fletcher, Rachel Fletcher, so significant so that she needed to have a special meeting with the man while she was going to have meetings with other leaders in the region at the same time. Where is the effort of that man to put himself in that kind of position? He makes sure he put himself in a position where he could talk to private citizens and get 1,000 kits and this kind of thing. Big deal about what? Where's the bilateral agreement between Nigeria and Grenada? Where is geopolitics coming into it, understanding how you strategize yourself?
He doesn't know that.
Grenada on the map by being a part of certain kind of groupings and so on, and the emphasis on being on that. What profit and benefit it will bring down to Grenada? He doesn't seem to understand this type of thing. But they don't see the naivety. But here, you have a whole set of corruption that man could be pinpointed to. And here is the caller who called, justifying that Kit Mitchell, because he was corrupt in his mind, and he did things that was unworthy of respect. He could be referred to as so-called prime minister, but you call this one also called prime minister. Look at the amount of things you could point out that man did, promises that he made, the disrespect he showed to the judge, and the judgment that was given 2 days before he announced paying the teachers the money that was deducted from the salary. The poor people, or the $450 that is allotted and allocated for the poor and vulnerable in the society and in the system. He took out $150 from it immediately he came in for a whole year. That same caller who calls him so-called prime minister and boy, that man does be on the radio calling back for his $1,500 that Deacon Mitchell took out from him the first year of his administration. He always calling him for it, because he gets the $450 too, and $150 was taken out from his money for a whole year. And he added it up, and he says $1,500 that the government owe him for that. The disrespect that man has shown to a whole lot of us, a whole lot of promises and statements that he made. It doesn't matter to the caller who has a problem with what the man said. justifying anything. And if we end up in that state to be normal in Grenada down the drain faster than we even think sometimes.
All right.
Take care, gentlemen. Take care.
Gates.
Yes, sir.
Your next one?
No. By the stroke of a pen.
Yes, Igwe. So once they abolish the post, but the question remains, Igwe, what happens? Right. Good afternoon, caller.
Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon, Igwe. Good afternoon, Mr. Carl.
Afternoon.
Hey, you go.
I'm okay, man. You know, like, when I analyze this Prime Minister, his interest is not to go on state visit. What he interested to go on private business. Because when he goes state business, what he bring for the state? Actually, he technically had nothing to achieve from that. But when he go on private business, he get what he get for himself, for his business. Right? And when we look at what we hear this Prime Minister is saying, you have to ask yourself this question. Again, education don't make you as someone that you educated and you have common sense. Because if you call yourself a bright person, you should have common sense to know what to do and what to say and what not to say. Because when you have the Prime Minister saying he is the biggest seller, right, for Grenada, it's bigger than tourism, bigger than Carriacou James, all the sports ambassadors that make Grenada and put Grenada on the map, right? They sell Grenada and no more focus on Carriacou James, winning gold, silver, bronze. In many of the 400 games he took part in, Grenada be on the map. What Carriacou did and what some of the sports personnel did for Grenada and Carriacou and Peter Mark, the Prime Minister did half as yet. He even did quarter, but he said he is the big seller. Yes, he may selling Grenada. He want to sell a Grenada to foreigners because things going on in the country. He alone know. He live in the country and go. The people of Grenada can't compete in Martinique. So the majority of people don't know. Right? You will leave in and go on a trip. Like some, you may say you go on a trip to Seminci, or let's say other country. But like you go into other place. If you leave and you go to Seminci, it's Seminci at the end up. Right? Because if like I take an example with Nigeria, he said that he going in that country. Well, he never said that he going in Nigeria. Right? So then if you're going in Nigeria, I will say you go in the country and then from the country you go end up in Nigeria. Right? So you see, when in England, you get a call from a private man to come in Nigeria. And I do believe the Prime Minister trip was to go in the country with the disease and Nigeria. But he only mislead and tell people going in that country. Right? He come to call. You know, like sometimes you are a family, you have the children, you have to be truthful to the children, tell the children and the wife, where are you going? So in case something happen with you, they know where to come and find you. Where to come and find you. So I say this Prime Minister is an embarrassment to the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Peter Martinique, and Grenada become a laughing stock, right, to the rest of the world. Before the last election, Grenada was a shiny light, was an example for other countries to follow. And I'm going back with Ivan and COVID, the way the previous government handled the COVID situation, and when they handled the situation with Ivan. I remember some people were saying like the damage that Grenada, Carriacou, Peter Martinique go through in 2004 from Ivan, it will take 20 years. But because of the vision and a government that unite, a cabinet that have ideas and have vision, within 3 or 4 years, Grenada came back on the market. And Grenada get praised for the way they deal with the COVID the virus that affect the country, affect other Caribbean country. But right now, what we find happening, we have a group of men in governing. They have no ideas. And Prime Minister go down, have no ideas. You have a man that when Prime Minister travel, he become the acting Prime Minister. I have no ideas. He don't know what's going on. He wanted this like to talk and talk So I call in upon the people going to come Peter Matic. Get to separate say your children and your grandchildren. Come next election, you have to get rid of from the prime minister, get rid of all this government. Because the prime minister he may have some common sense, he has some education, but he is not a leader. And we need someone, a leader with experience, a leader that know how to solve problems, and not a leader that could create problems and put more pressure upon the people who are going to carry on Peter Martin. So, Masakal, you will have a blessed evening.
All right.
After.
My concern, Igwe, is simply this. When you make the hospital a statutory body, what becomes of the nurses and staff?
It is my job to be the chief advocate for the beautiful trial state of Greater Carriacou and Petit Martinique. And the only way to do that is to leverage me and the office of the Prime Minister to ensure that we can get investors, we can get people interested in talking about Grenada. So with all due respect to the Grenada Tourism Authority and all the advertising, I am the biggest seller of Grenada. So when I go to Nigeria, I'm representing Grenada. Nigerians who never heard of Grenada would have heard of me.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to Master Carl, Zibwe, Devon, KB, Andre Donald. Hey, Ade boy, I lie down.
Okay.
I was in the hospital, you know.
Yeah, but I was up the islands too. I come back yesterday.
I was in hospital.
So how you feeling now?
I'm feeling a little better, but I'm not well. Miss Yolan Bain, good afternoon. Peter, watch now. Master Carl.
Hey.
Peter and them gone in America already, or they didn't go
I think it's today. I think it's today. What is the meeting?
Today was the meeting, I was saying. Anyhow, these are listening. I want to say good afternoon to all of them that is of the Dr. Michelle, Peter, everybody. What I want to say this afternoon, I got sick. I got sick by buying a food from a vendor. I get food poisoning and I end up in the hospital. I'm nearly dead. Not I'm nearly dead. I'm nearly dead. I shit, excuse me for the word. I passed through for 2 weeks. A week, I can't walk, you know. I cannot walk for myself. I'm trembling. Right? What I would like the Minister of Health and the Prime Minister to do for the people in the hospital is to put equipment there so that the nurses and the doctors and the cleaners and them don't get frustrated when they come to work. I want to say good afternoon to the medical ward and the first floor.
Okay.
I want to say good afternoon to the nurses and the doctors there. If I didn't good, I'd come out of the room and too.
Wow.
You I tell you, I ain't telling no lies. I will not come and lie. The doctors and the nurses in the general hospital, they're trying with people. I've been there. They're trying with the patients. But they don't be frustrated, Master Carl, and the way, and the Grenadian people that is listening. The nurses and them is very frustrated because they don't have the tools to work with. Right? They're in sympathy with people like me and others. Take what I tell you, I don't have to lie. Even if I didn't support the party, and it was NNP what the day, and it's the same treatment I would have speak about it. They're very frustrated because they don't have certain things there to work with, and people suffering. I see 2 people die by me. You hear?
Mm-hmm.
And the body stayed there till the next day. And look at me there. I had to beg the doctors, beg them to let me go home and dead. I said, I talked to the nurses, I talked to the doctors, and I begged them. And they was very nice to me. A lot of young doctors are there. They were in their 20s and their 30s. And I begged them, I said, please let me go home. I will get something to eat. I will get something to drink. I'll come out and get some sun. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
So help me, honest to God. I ain't telling you no lie. And I want to thank the nurses that take care of me very much. Because they didn't take in no chance with me. I say I tape in audio, I have audio and tape. I have audio and tape. And I have audio and picture and the phone. So I go show the world what going on there. So they didn't take in no chance with me. You know what I say? I would like the Minister of Health, the Prime Minister of this country, try and do something for the hospital with poor people. There is people that they are the family inside it and they can't come down and they don't have no clothes to put on them. And they do not have sheets and a gun to put on some of the patients that from the country and some of them from town that the parents or the children, some of them trying to abandon the parents there. They don't come in, nobody don't come in and see them, and all the clothes dirty. So help me, honest to God. And I don't want me flow inside my house now. So I have to leave some of my things for an old lady. And if I be strong, I'll bring back something for these people and them. That's why I tell you the nurses and them very frustrated. Some of the people are cleaning, they're frustrated because they don't have the tools. They don't have, they don't have like guns. You don't have an United Dirty. You're looking for a hospital gun to put on. You're looking for 2 sheets to put on the bed. So, when some people say, you don't have nothing of you don't have, because I had to buy me medication. I had to buy all my medication, but it was good to me. Me coming to the Scott. No smoke. The former speaker of the house, Mr. Mo, and that every time, the granddaughter, was very good to me. You ever heard enough from Vincent of there? I don't want to call her name, she's a big sister. She was very good to me, and all the other nurses. One that had an attitude, and when I say, how you on tape? I have you on my phone, I post me let everybody see. He come back nice. And one tell me the Prime Minister passing tomorrow, I say, let it pass, because I'm waiting for him. Let it pass. But then the doctor say, let me go and rest. Because I beg them to go home. Because the things they bring there, I can't eat it. And when it's 11 o'clock, it's breakfast time. Because some of the other people don't come to work. They don't come to work. And one woman, and they have to feed everybody. You understand?
Right.
And the Cuban doctor, he know me, just not on the tummy and take bus. When the Grenadian doctor tell him, well, I have this gas stroke, and I take him with this pain in my belly. He said, let me go, because I beg him to let me go in my house, and I lie down. You understand? So, most of the people and my customers are there in my house. If I come down in town, I might come and get something, medication, or I just come and sit down to relax. Because I can't lie down. But I have no strength, I'm weak. And my blood is very low. And you know something? A lot of people know I do well. A lot of supporters. Not one of them that call or one of them that come and look for me in Boucher. When I day in something that everybody coming with a bag, everybody coming and sit down, not a body. Have a good evening, Grenada. Patty and Matthew, good afternoon.
Well,
good afternoon.
Feel better, comes.
Yes. There's one thanks for the call alone, I want some more.
All right, okay. There you go. Carmen, you know well that.
I realize that way. She still song sick.
Yeah. Yeah, you go. So we're in the hospital.
Health.
What would happen to the nurses and staff? Those are appointed ones. Because I want somebody who listens to the program who might be in the know to tell me someone who is appointed by the Public Service Commission and work with a statutory body, what is the legal precedent? Because from what we heard or what was said, that once your post is abolished, you have to be paid full pension benefit as it relates to the 1958 imports. So we want to know, because this government say as soon as, and what would happen to those persons who are not appointed, who are on contract? You agree? So somebody out there in the know could call and tell us what, on one hand, what would happen to those appointed by the Public Service Commission? But what would happen to those not appointed? Those are what they give the backdated contracts. What would happen to them, Igwe? Because you see, it's lives and livelihood that could be affected. Eh? Bread and butter, that could be affected. So what happens? Because we don't know the ministers are settled, they could go and take GDP money when they want. They could be unemployed and people could say, oh, now they have 600,000 in their accounts. They could go and get money to buy boats and fishing, boats and engine and so on. The children could go and study. And this government has no regards for guardrails, i.e. the Integrity Commission. Because the Prime Minister boasting who pay for the trip, he boasting about gift. So I don't know if the thing changed overnight. We have one? Let's take it. Hello?
Hello.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good, Master Carl. I was part of the system you are speaking about.
Yes, so let's see.
Appointed by the Public Service Commission and was transferred to a statutory body.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have to give you a choice. They cannot force you to transfer to the statutory body. So they gave me a document to sign, which gave me two options. Either accept condition of secondment, or I choose to remain with government. If I learn after that if I chose to remain with government, then my position is redundant, they'll have to give me pension as if I retire full service, or offer me another position similar in the public service,
parallel,
which I may or may not accept.
Mm-hmm.
But then I chose to go over to the statutory body, and one of the conditions was that I will get my pension from government as if remaining. So the Public Service Commission maintained a file on me, and when I reached 60 years, age of compulsory retirement, the Public Service Commission wrote me and said they are retiring me on the ground of age. Mm-hmm. And I got my government pension. Also, the statutory body which I was working with had a pension system, I also benefited from the pension system.
Blessed guy.
But I learned after that secondment should not be for more than 2 years.
Oh.
There's a rule for that. After 2 years, you have to make up your mind to leave the public service entirely and go over to the statutory body.
Or return to the public service.
But Master Carl, in case of the health system, since they're only statutorizing the hospital, you still have the primary health care and the district medical centers. So, if all the nurses decide they don't want to be with the statutory body, then government will have to employ them within the district medical centers or pay them pensions. So it's a very technical matter. But my concern is I cannot see all that being resolved in time to statutarize the hospital by 1st January 2025. That's why I see the difficulties.
Once small matter. What happens to persons who are on contract in the grand scheme of things?
This I don't know. This I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what is it depends on the grounds of the contract. For example, if they have it is a 2-year contract, government may have to pay them as if they completed the 2 years, and then they have the choice of whether to work with the statutory body. But I'm only saying that above my head.
Because see, that is a matter of concern. And like you say, you get to know a lot of things after the fact. So
exactly,
those persons in that category, what happens to them so that they would make a decision beneficial to them? Because see, the government and the Minister of Health, they're going around in circles. Because just a week or two ago, the health minister was not agreeing to statutorization on one of the social media platforms. Then the Prime Minister came and tried to and tried to walk back. He had to make the rounds on media houses. And finally, the health minister on another social platform again, because see, they're making this pronouncement not using the GIS, Government Information Service, they're going on privately owned platforms and make pronouncement that is an issue for the nation at large, and it could have repercussions as to the implementation, as you just say. And then we're looking at timeline from now to January 1st. With all these things, what we believe should happen in terms of the nurses and the situation, in terms of those who are on contract and so on. And then we hear what statutory companies would receive a subvention, and then the budget might be read quite in March. So a lot of things in the air.
But it is now, Master Carl, I believe the unions hold the keys. The unions will have the knowledge of those things, and the workers who they are trying to transfer to a statutory body are their members. So the union will have to get all legal advice pertaining to such and deal with the workers accordingly.
All right.
Give them the proper advice. Okay.
But then, you gone?
Yeah.
All right.
Have a next one.
Let me take it.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello. Call back.
Because you see, this thing is not easy, because you see, even the minister and him not clear. Because he seems not to be liking the Government Information Service. He going on person's personal platforms and make pronouncements that would affect the whole health establishment in this country, which is sad. But it begs the question, what happens to those who they call to backdate their contracts recently? That is a matter entirely that persons would want to know. Because you don't want them to come and sign any agreement they're not au fait with, what could be worse or detrimental to their source of livelihood, lives and livelihood. So like a caller like that who shed a little bit of light on his experience, is there anyone out there who could at least give some more information so persons could understand and be comfortable moving forward? Because this thing would affect the whole health situation. Mm-hmm. Because we haven't heard about health insurance, medical health insurance, how it would affect. And what's about those persons whose economic reality does not afford them to pay? Because once you make it statutory, the standard gonna raise and the cost will raise whether we like it or not. You don't have nothing like a free lunch anymore. So what happens then? I wish somebody in the hearing of this program could call and shed some more lights on this situation. Because once the post becomes abolished, you have to call the concern. Yes, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Brother Carl.
Good afternoon, how you doing?
Hi there, I'm there. Ray Claudette and Persuader that sell the NDC, let them answer the question. Them that sell the NDC give Prime Minister, so they have to answer the question. They sell NDC. So anything belongs to them again, so there's a new NDC they gotta get. That's why the man doing all this kind of wrong thing. And it's time for you to get up there, let's march, I don't care what people are saying. Put government boots on the ground. Okay. It's time for we do something. But we don't going nowhere,
All right, thanks. See what going on with the people?
Yeah, a lot of people say they saw not lose work there.
Yeah.
Regularization is focused on the several hundreds, if not thousands, of the persons who do not have those things. And the point that I think P.S. Marshall was making is that in order to treat with that, we simply cannot take all of them and make them established public servants for the simple reason that it will bankrupt the government. It will not be sustainable. So the discussion, the partnership, the compromise has to essentially be how we improve the terms and conditions of employment as close as possible to that of established workers in a manner that is sustainable. And that involves a number of things. How we agree on a pension formula for them, for example. How we agree on the vacation, etc., etc., etc. So that is what the process.
Yeah, I think you go. Good afternoon.
Lost it. Gonna get it back in a minute. They wanna explain something for you.
You want to do what?
I guess they wanna explain something for you that you're asking.
Okay. Well, we welcome that. Well, we'll call back, caller. A question again. Will the statutory body continue all the allowances that are currently paid by government? It should be noted that a statutory body is profit-driven and may play hardball in salary negotiations. Good afternoon, caller.
Hello?
Yes, gentlemen.
Yes, good afternoon.
None of that could shed light, but I heard the Prime Minister talking about that issue a little bit today, around midday when they have their program, or party program, I should say. But he's there appearing as a government official, which is a continuing mix-up that Grenadians need to take note of and do something about rectifying. But anyway, he was there, and he like to open his mouth already. Two things he opened his mouth about that seems to give well, one of them is a different spin on the whole issue of the Mount Sinai agreement. That the Mount Sinai agreement has a lot to do with the building of the new hospital too. Which originally, when I heard about the Mount Sinai agreement, it seems that it was initiated to help the hospital that exists, or the health system as it exists now, to be improved. But based on what he said today, it seems like they are an integral part of the building of the new hospital, advising, structure, the whole makeup of things, even design of the hospital too, based on what he said. But in his comments today, the Prime Minister made a statement which continued to baffle me in the way things are handled in this country. The Prime Minister was asked about the 500 houses that was promised of land. How is it going? I know the first thing the Prime Minister said was, the previous administration never did anything serious about housing in Grenada. My mother say she doesn't have good thing all the time, but It's amazing that nothing serious was done about housing. He went as far as pointing out that some $1,500 that used to be given to do repairs on housing and so on, as though that was no big thing. And that is like what they are doing now is way more than what used to be done. Not this grade I'm living in, I know that to be true. Because being a tradesman, I was ever cognizant of what was being done relative to repair of houses in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I was a part of the program, I never was. But I was always aware of these things and who they're doing things for in my area, and the amount of work that was being done generally. You had brigades all over the place. Even down here, there was an effort to recruit me to run one of the brigades. That came just before the election. Well, I never was a part of it in the eventual sense. But I know that this government, the government that passed, did an amazing amount of work in this country. The amount of bathroom and toilet that was put all over the place for people who trying to eliminate the whole idea of pit toilet, plus other kind of repairs. That was normal and common, consistent in this country. They come now and they try to rebrand it, and all you have around the place, and I could tell you direct stories, but I won't go into it, is a set of confusion with the people that are responsible for the projects or the program nowadays. Because it is being run where the guys are given contract. It's not like the brigade that used to be. The brigade that used to be, they do the work, they are supervisors, government supervisors, and make sure that the work is being done. I know that there used to be a lot of skimming, and I complain about it a whole lot for the past few years. But right now, they change the program where they give the guys responsible for the brigades contract. And guys who are part of the brigade are having serious confusion in the process. I know that as a fact. So I don't know what I'm talking about, that the government before never did serious consideration when it comes to houses. How much thousands of units of houses that were built under the previous government by the Chinese that sit or standing there empty after 2.5 years when they were supposed to have been given already. And the man is just saying that there was no serious effort by the previous government. That 500 houses that they are talking about there, I could guarantee people, and I'm a person, I don't like to speculate, and I don't like conspiracy theories, but I could predict safely that whole idea would not go well. For one, they don't have the money. And relative to not having the money, that's why the budget is being pushed back to you. That's why the budget is being pushed back. They cannot see how to, where monies will come from to allocate and putting in place for projects and programs. So they cannot now come up with a budget. That's a fact. This is why the budget is being pushed back.
So here's what
houses that they propose it.
So here what go happen, they go statutarize the health, the hospital. They go read a budget nice and they go call election. So they say now, if they win, well, they go say, well, we can do it. And if they don't win, NMP go out to pay it.
But here, Ms. Daisy Hazard made a statement some time ago, and I always use it, that they are doing peacekeeping on how the union have been doing peacekeeping, she referred to it as, in this hospital there. The apprehension and confusion, the whole idea of statutarization of that system, of the hospital and the whole system, is causing now, I could anticipate or predict, that the apprehension and fear that is being caused right now might cause things to get worse very fast in that hospital there. Because the nurses have been clamoring for things that they were promised. The union have noticed that the $500 in particular that the Prime Minister single-handedly, without negotiation with the union, gave to the nurses was something done to bypass the union and sweep the union from under the nurses from under the union feet, so that the government can manipulate and control the union. The union eyes open now. So there's a confrontation brewing based on what, and on top of that, I've been hearing on other programs a whole set of people who seems to have influencing the Prime Minister and the administration, calling for the removal of Brian Grimes as president of the union, so that the effect that he is expected to have within the union, they are doing their best to whittle it down, nullify him, so that the effectiveness that he's been having relative to the negotiations would not be going forward. I can see it happening. The people who are part of the union, the nurses and whoever, public service workers, they know the value of Brian Grimes, I think, and especially Miss Hazard too. And they have been doing, as like they say, doing their best to do peacekeeping in the hospital. And now, I think that will create a lot of apprehension among the nurses, to the extent that they even need Brian Grimes and Daisy Hazard and the union generally more than before. So I'm warning the nurses, or I'm asking the nurses to make sure that they hold the fort and keep the people that have been fighting for them to continue to fight, because it seems like the government is trying to make sure that they undermine everything, so that when they decide to finally statutarize the hospital or privatize whatever they want to privatize, the union will not be there to make a shout for the workers. Warn the nurses and so on about that.
Well, the nurses have to be vigilant.
Most of them listening.
That's the point. Because I see, I tell you, hey, loud calls on radio program to get rid of Brian Grimes. But if they are doing peacekeeping, they know. Those who are calling, they know that there are serious issues that Brian Grimes and them are fighting for. So if they could undermine Brian Grimes, then the government could do what they want and get away with the nurses. So they seem to be thinking that this type of thing wouldn't work in this day and age, especially.
All right,
nurses
Carl.
should know the value of people like Brian Grimes and so on. So take care, General.
All right. But
some people, in their zealousness in supporting this administration, respectfully, if something goes wrong, it has to be a public officer is sabotaging. I mean, this is so unfortunate, because we all know the vast majority of public officers voted for this current administration, hence the reason they're in power. So why is it all of a sudden when something goes wrong, it has nothing to do with the politician, it has nothing to do with the administration, but it has everything to do with the poor public officer? Yes, we are not saying that they are perfect. That's not what we are saying. But we just believe and we know that a lot of blame is being placed on the backs of public officers unnecessarily and falsely, as a matter of fact.
According to Grimes,
serious. That's what some. When one thing goes wrong, they blame somebody. But we still want somebody to give us a little clarity on what happens to persons who are appointed by the Public Service Commission in terms of the hospital and those who are on contracts. Because we have a date, January 1st, it's just a few days away. Or 2 months away. So we want for persons to understand. I hope the nurses are listening, and some afraid to speak because they say they're afraid for their work. But at the end of the day, you see, and that is the concern I have with this government, because they make so much promises. And a lot of times, it don't add up. Why are you laughing?
I have a comment here for you.
Tell me.
The oil that they say didn't exist now They say someone wants to buy it. Maybe it's coconut oil because coconut oil is scarce.
Well, why?
I don't hear any money oil these days.
Yeah, well, the Prime Minister put the oil in perspective, so they cannot speak to oil anymore. Yeah, Carl?
Right.
Yeah, anyway, so I really hope that before the program is through, that somebody might shed some light on this thing. So, is it that was one of the plans for them to have a late budget with all that in consideration? What happens now to the health people in the functional review? Because the budget thing is, it has happened already under the National Democratic Congress when budget was ready in March. So it's not something that is new. An issue which I speak to, and I would speak a bit out again about the economy and the part where 2025, the payment of debt and so on. So with all of that, the abolishing of the post, people are to be paid. We hearing they are to suspend the debt servicing because to build back after burial. So we hearing all kind of thing. So we had some questions. Why not debt? Why not attempt some debt forgiveness? Because every interest will be placed on the capital. Something ain't right, Igwe. Something is not right. So I wanted to ask my MP.
Dennis?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask him some questions as it relates to the economy. Because we have this thing with the teachers. So we want to ask him about the current account balance, Igwe. We want to know if the current account balance is still positive. Because we understand there's a drop in grant funding. We also want to know what is the debt to GDP ratio. Sometime around the NNP time it was now at 55-60%, what it is now. And seeing that Lennox Andrews who talk about the surplus and a lot of money, what is the situation with the current account balance? Because we're hearing once this post abolished with the nurses, they will have to be paid. So we want to know, because the nation business is not NDC business. It's the nation's business. So we want to know, Mr. Cornwall, because you could make the maths. Because the wage bill. Because in terms of all what he said, I thought one of the routes would have gone with the international community is to ask for some debt forgiveness, pushing the debt down the road. It still has to be paid with interest, more weight on the Grenadians' back. Then we have to do the pension reform, additional costs. Now here in our statutarization, where the hospital would charge top dollars for service. But we don't hear much about health insurance. Because one of the concerns of the past government was how the health insurance would have affect the ordinary man. The man whose economic reality is nothing to boast about. So with all of this, we just hearing mumbo jumble, and they keep going on friendly platforms and not using the government information service. I just don't get it. Like you hear one of the callers say who was on some program today, which is not a national program, which is an NDC program. So the things kind of sad, Igwe.
Looking bleak.
So there's a lot of questions, Igwe. A lot of questions. In terms of the economy, how, in the context of the present state of the economy and statutarization, and we know the persons who will be affected, how that will relate to the financial situation, and if they have to be given something, the budget not being active until maybe March. So is it a sign of chaos? Yes?
What is it?
Or is it a sign of really lack of institutional knowledge with little experience and a whole lot of arrogance? And is it, as the Prime Minister say, has it become Mark Boland a one-man thing? Because he says he, but I thought team didn't have I. And I wasn't here to spell team with I. Yes, let's take the call. Good afternoon. Hello?
Yes, gentlemen. Again, you know something happened, was it on Wednesday morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday morning, on another radio station, where a union leader, a trade union, one of the trade unions in this country,
Yeah.
was on that day. Now, on that day, it is allocated for government officials, whether it's a minister, the permanent secretaries and such people. The program on that day, to the point, is for people of that sort. That day, my good friend, Mr. Mason, appeared on the program. I am not sure in what capacity, although I heard somebody say that he is whatever, as a leader of the NDC party in the St. David constituency. He's one of the leading people in the party constituency arm. So I didn't hear the actual beginning of the program, so I don't know in what capacity.
Yeah, so what he said.
I heard most of the program.
What he said.
And there he was. He did his best. Actually, that's what the takeoff of the program ended up being. That there are those in this country right now infiltrating the trade union movement with the sole purpose of doing what it takes relating to the pension law of 1958. And that is going to be used to bring down the government. They infiltrate the union, and they are going to try to frustrate the negotiation or the implementation of the law as handed down by the judge. That the government is supposed to pay pension and whatever related to it. Now the whole thing was a whole set of mumbo jumbo, confusing to me, because a lot of fumbling he did in the process of trying to say what he needed to say. There are times it's like he had a block, about 2 or 3 times. he took maybe a whole 35 seconds or so to restart his sentence. Like and to the extent that he went to the point where he said you'll have to get back to him on certain things, certain questions, or the host of the program. But the main thrust of his effort was to point out to people that the union are being infiltrated by people who are going to use the negotiation process to bring down the government. That's a plan.
Well, they know that was a plan of theirs, so.
So we are yet to see that in the real making, as you might say. Keep your eye open when it comes to that.
All right, caller.
That accusation was a serious accusation that morning.
All right, caller.
That was the takeaway of the whole thing. Take care.
Igwe, we treading into some serious times. And we ought to have our eyes wide open. Because at the end of the day, the Grenada, what would be the effects of whatsoever decisions are made. But my concern is simply this. What really happens to the health situation in this country? Like I say, I'm not against statutarization. But at the same time, I do have my concern, one, about the health insurance. Two, the people we call the poor and vulnerable, or whose economic reality is not good. And thirdly, what happens to the contract workers presently? Because a lot of those people voted for the promises made. And now, midway down the stream, something else is being offered up, Igwe. How does that affect those persons going forward? So that is why we are concerned. And that is why we speak to and speak about what we think. We're not a repositor or the repository of every knowledge, so we don't claim to know all. But at the same time, we'd like to get information to bring to the people so they could understand how to deal with and how to treat with what might happen when come January 1st, Igwe. So we hear, Igwe, not only fighting for ourselves, but to those who cannot do it for themselves, Igwe, because we keep saying. And this is one of the times when we ought to try to be our brother's keeper, Igwe. Because this thing would affect a whole lot of people and families, Igwe. Those who are working, those who are permanent appointed by the PSC, those who are on contract, and those who need the services of health. So it is not just old talk or not just political bluster, but at the same time, it will affect the livelihood analyzed in the context of health about the people. So we speak to and we speak of those things. So we keep asking the question, what is the true situation with the economy? Because going forward, late budget, going forward, that payment would have to be made to these people and them in the hospital. Going forward, how much it would cost somebody to go to those places. So it's something we ought to speak to, and it's not something we could keep pushing under the table. A national discussion must be held, because it's not about NDC or NNP health. is not about any one person. Health is something that affects all. Sickness is no respecter of persons, or sickness does not know political color. So I really hope moving forward that something makes sense. Like we always say, it's time to stop making excuses where health is concerned. Time to stop politicizing where health is concerned. Because health happens to be a necessity for all equally. Health happens to be something that does not discriminate against whether you're rich or you're poor or you're green or you're yellow. So health ought not to be something that we should take side or partisan. Let me take the call. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, Master Carl.
Hey.
You might remember that when the Prime Minister came up with the idea of public workers paying into a pension scheme, I pointed out that the same committee that Dr. Mitchell had proposed to look into the pension problem, it was implemented by the present government. But the report that was supposed to come out didn't come out yet. But there was a Prime Minister coming up with that idea about public workers paying into a pension. And I thought something was wrong with it. I pointed out that on one of your programs.
What you thought was wrong?
This is the contentious issue right now with the unions and the government, you know. This is a very big thing. The unions have been putting their foot down on that issue. And this is a serious development in the country right now. It seems like the Prime Minister refused to accept the report that the committee brought forward. And
what makes you believe that?
How to get that pension thing working. And as far as he's concerned, he insists on public workers paying into a pension scheme. The legality or illegality of that whole issue is a big question. Because the government is responsible for pension for people who are in that service.
Well, the government...
There has never been an issue of the workers paying into it.
The present government... The present government made a song and dance when the ruling came out from the court. They went as far as say, even if we have to borrow to pay, we will pay. That was their pronouncement. So all the government at the time spoke to, and I still believe the government of the day, a lot of things they could have done which they didn't do. But be that as it may, we can Monday morning quarterback now. They said all the things that this government is saying now as relates to how it would affect the country and the economy. But then, for the quench for power, they say, nah, the man don't want to pay, the man lying, and all utter nonsense. Now, the shoe is on their foot. And he's squeezing them. They're looking for all kind of excuse.
He's squeezing tight. That's the point.
And they're not being straight with the Grenadian people. Now, being straight and letting people know exactly what they're dealing with does not make you weak. So my whole thing about it is simply this. The time has come when the government has to be straight with the Grenadian public as it relates to the economy and everything. Because by their admission, they meet a lot of money. By their admission, they sell a lot of passport. By their admission, the Prime Minister says he's the best seller of Grenada. So a lot of things which he's saying, which they are saying, doesn't add up. So you're the best seller, but what benefit have you brought to this country after all your travels? Or what benefits have you gained yourself? Because corruption is about enriching yourself at the expense of everybody else. So they need to be straight. And the present government has an issue with the union from day one. Don't forget that. I don't know if the union get catch.
Yeah.
And they just realizing what's going on.
The union just really waking up to see what is really going on. That's a fact. Mr. Grimes pointed it out recently. Because he recognized the union effort, the effort to undermine the union was bypassing the union, giving the $500 to the nurses. It was a terrible thing that the union didn't stand up against at the moment. Not that something was wrong in giving them the money, but the manner in which the whole thing was done, the union come to recognize that the government is doing everything to undermine them. Now, the thing about it is that the economy is in a serious deficit. The economy is in a serious state. It's not progressing. It's not going up. It's going down. So all the effort or the game that was being played to make it look as though the government could pay the pension consistently, nothing materialized as they were making it sound. So this is why they want the workers now to pay into it. So similar to NIS, technically speaking.
They're creating
NIS established for that.
They're creating another NIS.
So what's the point of paying into a pension scheme? And the union is standing up against it. And this is where the whole contention is going. So when M. Mason made the comments or the statements and them that he made on the day, I think he have a lot to do with that too.
All right.
There are those in the government who recognize the nonsense that the government is doing, and they are standing up against it. Take care, gentlemen.
All right, God. I believe the government is not being straight with the Grenadian people equal. They're not telling us what is the true situation of the economy. And they're trying to do things and make excuse. And I believe the Prime Minister's private trip is an exit strategy for him. So if the other persons around him is not seeing what is going on, it's something sad. And all we ask is that they be straight with the Grenadian public. Time for games has passed. And a lot of persons do, and somebody just chime in here. They say people don't really understand the pension issue. The only persons guarantee a pension are those who currently hold a permanent appointment. The government can employ temporary workers at any condition they were deceived. Here we to the call.
Hello? Yes, good afternoon again.
Yay.
Gates. Yeah. Tell the Prime Minister that is not how there will be an Igwe, The Prime Minister want to be an Igwe.
You want to be a Udugu? You want to be a Udugu? Igwe is high man.
Igwe is man of respect. Udugu is a man that have a lot of money.
Yes. Nigeria is there to go and be Igwe, Tell them what's good. When they're watching, don't watch Cookie Eye. Watch straight.
Straight.
Yes. If you want to be Igwe, tell him that's so. The next time he put on his sash and he go anyway, he's not coming back. Don't read him. He's not coming back. I'm telling you, I'm not asking you that.
Abandon ship?
No, not so. No. You're not abandoning ship. No. They'll take him and do whatever they have to do with it.
Oh.
Yes. Look at where he's going. He's going in the east. In the east. Let go.
All right, caller.
All righty.
Yeah, bless.
So, let me take it.
Hello?
Yeah.
Anthony too.
I don't hear nothing you just see. Stop that. Call back.
Igwe.
Yeah.
Hogwash is nonsense.
Yeah, nonsense.
Or words that are intended to deceive.
Mm-hmm.
So when the people were promised pension, the only persons guaranteed of a pension are those who are currently holding a permanent appointment appointed by the Public Service Commission. The government could employ people and give them contract. But they're not. They cannot receive pension equally. So other people didn't understand the whole discussion of pension. And that is a sad thing. Okay. I hope you win some money. A man say you're on the way to bingo.
Bingo. We're supposed to have a bingo or something, ain't it?
Yeah, the bingo.
Yeah, we're supposed to have a bingo this afternoon.
Yeah, in Grenville. See you on the way to the bingo. And the Wi-Fi bar. But I hope you win something. And that is why we here Igwe to educate the people. So now all the promises start to unravel. The place open like book. So everybody will be able to read. We have to see how much money Dangote go spend in the election campaign. And we want to see who go get buy and who go sell. So Igwe, the question still remains, what happens to the workers in the hospital come January 1st? You understand? What, Igwe? A lot of people say they on the way to the bingo, like that bingo will be a blowout, boy.
Once it's waiting, I support him.
Eh?
I say once it's waiting, I support him.
Yeah, Igwe. Still, okay, okay. One of the RC say they were promised that on retirement the services will be joined. And up to now they're waiting still. So Mr. Deacon Mitchell promised the RC that they want it, give them. And they're still talking about the pay and grade. They want to know what is going on. Because you promised the police pay and grade, they didn't ask you. You just come and promise them pay and grade equal.
Real smart to pick on the police, eh?
Yeah.
People doesn't trouble the police, you know, because you don't trouble the police is problem.
Yeah, man.
I don't know where you come with and you just trouble the police, you know. I tell you, do your research.
Boy, I'm scared that tongue, me. So, it's a situation we're watching, and from time to time, we go give with 2 pence on it, and look out for the people, because at the end of the day, they are part of us.
We daddy.
Ah, boy. So, Igwe, what? Let's see what we in touch. Well, I think we touch those things that we intended. Oil and gas.
You remember them?
Why they say, somebody say why you have
Is how you say it, yeah. Island gas.
why they say you have enough island gas to make all Grenadian get rich fast. But I don't know if Don go take and then go take all the oil from us. Because we don't know what the guy gonna sign in under. That's the problem. Because the guy know about Block 21 and all kind of thing. They say they deny information. Everything them are saying is not true.
Yes.
And this is very, very sad, Igwe. So, Igwe, unfortunately, we have come to the end of the discussion today. Thanks to all who made the program what it was. Thanks to all loyal listeners. Take care until next week. Bless.
That is the frequent comment I hear. Too one-sided, underhanded, can't be trusted. This is the opinion, ear to ear. For their own abuses.